Hey guys, welcome back to the Dirt Bike Girl. If you don't know, my name is Jessie and I'm out training on my KTM 150 XCW. It's a new bike to me. I'm getting used to it. I'm out with everybody else today. Really like the suspension. Really love how light this is. It's so easy to ride, but I'm going to try and do a couple new things with it today. It's really wet and cold out. I hope you guys enjoy. So as you guys know, I've been working on getting on and off this bike because I'm too short to touch the ground. And one of the things I did first off was work on trying to do my little trick mounting of the bike while going down a hill. I had the bike turned off. I was going to bump start it at the bottom. I ran into problems right away. So I got it in second gear right now with the clutch pulled in, but the clutch is not acting right. So it's kind of rolling, but not really rolling like I want it to. It's not picking up any sort of speed or rolling freely, which means the clutch is just wearing out. So finally, I just put it into neutral to get started so that it'll roll freely. And now I'm finally off going down the hill, and I forgot it was in neutral for the bump start. So finally I put it up into second gear and it starts right up. Just for you guys so you know, when you bump start a bike, you want to be on a pretty decent sized hill. You want to have it up in at least second gear, clutch pulled in. As you're going down, you want to be standing and then drop all your weight down onto the seat at the same time letting the clutch out so that the rear wheel gets traction. Every time I go out, I try and pick one or two turns to really work on perfecting my turning. Today I picked some nice wide sweeping turns to start. I wanted to work on standing. Of course, it's really slippery out there. I wanted to really work on my throttle control so I wasn't sliding everywhere. I wasn't trying to go super fast, but I was trying to maintain my speed through the turn, waiting that outside peg. This is the same corner. The footage is from my GoPro. You can see how muddy it is, and it stays covered in shade pretty much all day, so it never really gets sunlight, never really dries out. But I really like the way it banks right here, and I can work on really kind of getting into a rut, even though there's not a rut there, and riding the same line and perfecting it. The other goal being that I don't want to use too much brake right here. I don't want to be sliding around, and I don't want to use too much throttle, but I want to stay steady on the throttle and then start pushing it as I'm coming out of the corner. I really love how nimble and easy this bike is to ride through corners. I'm starting to get a little braver, getting a little more speed up. Not using a lot of brake. And getting my speed back up again. Here's the other corner I worked on. This is a much tighter corner, but I still wanted to work on the same things. Throttle control, not sliding around, not sliding because of the brake or the throttle, maintaining my speed, waiting that outside peg. Got stuck behind this guy, but it's always good to come real slow through a corner, keeping your balance, leaning the bike over and standing. Here we are on the GoPro again. See to the left, the little water washout. I love things like that. Any chance I can get to ride through stuff like that can simulate being in the woods, I take advantage of it. And I'm going to go over the jumps this time just for fun. Not real fast, but we'll get some fast jumping in later. I was just thinking about how different my riding has changed coming from the 250 to the 150, or the 4-stroke to the 2-stroke, either way you want to see it. One of the things is this thing's so light and nimble, it makes it so much easier to ride, and I feel so much more confident standing on it. Also, I've been thinking a lot about my gear changes. I'm not just changing anymore. I'm thinking about whether I want to be in the low range, the mid range, or up in the power band. And it's definitely been quite the experience. I'm really enjoying that it's more of a thinking type ride instead of just riding along. Let me know, comment below, how do you like to ride? You like to ride thinking about everything you're doing, or you just do it by feel?
Your bike's gonna run a hell of a lot better without the choke.
But it does too. If you couldn't hear that, he was just making fun of me because I realized I had the choke on all morning. What a newbie mistake. Well, see, my 250 didn't have a choke on it, so it wasn't something I had to worry about, but now it's something I have to worry about. Guys, we all make mistakes, just learn from them. Hey, back over to the flat track. Again, working on my standing. I'm really enjoying standing on this bike. I feel so confident. And even though it's so wet today, it's not sloppy, but it's definitely slippery. And I am not sliding around. I'm not kicking out my back end. I could kick out my back end, but I feel really in control of the throttle. Starting to get a little too much confidence probably for this bike. You know, with my 250, I always just use the rear brake, and of course it had the engine brake, which helps slow the bike down, so I never really used the front brake. And now that I've got the 150 two-stroke, I've been using a lot more front brake. Well, front brake and rear brake together, guys. I always use the front and rear brake together. And every now and then I find myself just using front brake now, which I shouldn't do. I got to remind myself, oh, he went off the trail. I got to remind myself, front and rear together, use them together. The other thing that I find myself doing is really playing with the torque and the power, whether I'm in low and mid-range or up in the power band. I didn't want to get too much into the power band today on this small track, especially with all these other people around and it being so slick. I just don't quite have the confidence yet, but later on I'm going to get out onto the 4-mile track, and I do get up there and I build that confidence. Okay, here's a little bank that I've been jumping. This is in the middle of the S-turn on the flat track, and it's got a little cliff on one side, and then the other side is just slanted up. And I've been trying to use this to control my front wheel. So jumping off one side and trying to keep the front wheel up, not from diving down. You do that by maintaining the throttle, not letting off the throttle or chopping the throttle. And you also need to work on your timing and compressing your suspension to help keep that front wheel up. When I get really good at this, I'm going to land on the rear wheel first, but I'm not quite there yet. This is what I'm practicing for my creek crossing. I'm being pretty good at this at slow speeds, but guys, I want you to hold me accountable. It was muddy out, so I didn't push it, but I need to start sending it off of this thing. Like I need to be going faster and jumping it and not just kind of dropping down. So that's my goal next time. That's what you guys are going to be seeing. That's what I'm going to be doing. I shouldn't have been hesitating so much in this mud. I should have been more on the throttle. And the last thing I did was went out and went over some jumps. I'm trying to land rear wheel first. This first time I land flat, no big deal. The second time I get over there, I get on a little blip more of the throttle at the base. Not much, just a little blip at the base. I stay on the throttle the whole time, and I do manage to do it, land that rear wheel first. So I'm starting to get control of that front wheel. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed my video. Training day 2. I'm on my way to visit my family. Merry Christmas, everyone. We're stuck in traffic. So I wish I could, but if you guys are having a bad day, remember, it's 1 down and 5 up. Thanks, everybody.